I played my fair share of hack and slash games in my day, but nothing quite like Lollipop Chainsaw. Lollipop Chainsaw was a very controversial game to say the least. At first glance, you might think it's just some gooner game that lacks in substance, but it turns out that Lollipop Chainsaw is actually more than that. It's actually a modern take on a classic video game genre. Lollipop Chainsaw appears to be your standard hack and slash game. You have your standard combos that are found in other games like Bayonetta, a combo counter that keeps track of your high body count, a special transformation, something similar to the Devil Trigger that's in Devil May Cry, and of course, what's a hack and slash game without some gimmick fights and a little bit of range combat? All of this is par for the course, but the biggest difference and issue for many is its length. Lollipop Chainsaw can be beaten in a single sitting. Like, I was completely shocked how short this game was. HowLongToBeat.com calculates that it's about 6.5 hours long, with only 7 levels total. I remember people being pissed about this in the past, and gamers today, they expect even more playtime per dollar, so I don't even know how they will feel about it. Now, this sounds bad on paper, but not if you understand what Lollipop Chainsaw is going for. You see, Lollipop Chainsaw may be a hack and slash game due to how its combat is, but its structure is that of a classic beat 'em up game. You know, something you will find in the arcade era. Now, this didn't hit me until I reached level 3, but once you see Lollipop Chainsaw for what it is, a modern take on a classic beat 'em up, all its shortcomings, get it, shortcomings, because the game is short? I'll stop now. It all begins to make sense. Like I said previously, there are 7 levels, and most of them end with a boss fight. Each stage has a short runtime and a linear design. Unlike other games in the genre, they don't pad the game out with puzzles, but they do have some gimmick moments that add to the jovial theme of the game. The combat is where Lollipop stands out with the weirdest combat system I've ever experienced. Juliet, being a cheerleader, uses her pom-poms and acrobatics to rapidly pummel zombies into a daze with team spirit. Her trusty chainsaw is used for slicing up zombies, but it's on the slower side. The chainsaw is oddly linked to 2 buttons on your controller. Triangle is for high swings, while X is for low swings. When zombies are standing, both low and high swings are viable. Swinging low can chop off legs and send them down to the ground. If you swing high, you can potentially lob off some arms and maybe some heads, but it's a guaranteed kill if they're stunned by your pom-poms. A low swing is a must for crawlers. If you use your pom-poms or swing high with your chainsaw, you will miss any zombie crawling beneath you. And it's important you pay close attention, as you can be fighting both standing and crawling zombies at once. The last thing you want is to be grabbed by one of these crawling zombies while you're not paying attention. So make sure to stay on your toes. Lollipop Chainsaw's strange combat design gives it a simple but satisfying rhythm to it. Beat up zombies with your pom-poms to send them into a daze. Then you want to hit them with your chainsaw to instantly kill them. And always make sure to use low attacks when fighting crawlers. What makes this all flow together so well is the combos. You can actually unlock combos that go from a pom-pom strike into a chainsaw. You have combos that end in stabs, lunges, uppercuts, and dashes, each of which have a useful purpose, and knowing what move to do at any given time takes this simple combat system and makes it complex. Now, it's nowhere near as many moves in this game as it is in something like a Ninja Gaiden, but it's also more balanced than that game. There are some deadly combos that you can unlock by the end of the game that can wipe out hordes of zombies with the ease. But thanks to the game being so well balanced, this longer combo isn't always viable. So don't forget to use the other moves in your arsenal. Relying on Holy Chainsaw might get you killed. Despite Juliet being quicker than the zombies, they actually have so much stopping power in one hit, it completely stops her momentum, which 9 times out of 10, if you get hit once by a zombie, even though it's a simple strike, you'll get hit again and again and again, and that's why you should always pay attention and don't underestimate your enemy. So how does Juliet defend herself? Well, She doesn't block, but she does have a dodge button, which is fitting for an acrobatic cheerleader. Juliet will flip out of harm's way and can even do this mid-combo. Now, it's important to know that you can't flip forever. After doing 3 flips in a row, Juliet will perform a roll and slowly recover. So make sure you don't abuse it. It's also important not to get too hyped up by Juliet's elegant movements, as you can rack up a high combo and getting in the zone like that may cause you to forget to watch out for the zombies. I have definitely found myself getting snuck up on by a zombie and my whole momentum and combo just dropped because I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't dodging in the right moments. Now, the cool thing is that dodging isn't just for defense. There is an offensive purpose to it as well. By pressing the dodge button near a zombie, you can leapfrog over them and slice them right down the middle. You can even dodge and then stab down crawlers and perform a dive kick. Your chainsaw doubles as a gun as well. There isn't much to say here as it's just standard third-person shooting. It is fun though, and you can go between shooting and fighting whenever you want. But some moments in the game are just built around your aiming skills. That's not all her chainsaw can do, as Juliet can rev up her chainsaw, and this causes her to get into like a Sonic-like dash state, which she can use to bogart her way through zombies like a football player. Now, throughout the gameplay, you might be wondering why the game keeps slowing down with rainbows and glitter. If you kill 3 or more zombies with one swing, you get a Sparkle Hunt bonus. You can even string these back to back, and the best thing about it is you can even use it with your gun. The best way to do it is to stun a zombie with your pom-poms, then swing your chainsaw. If you do this around a horde of zombies, you're likely to hit multiple zombies at once, which will obviously put you in Sparkle Hunt mode. The more zombies that are in a daze, the easier it is to pull off, but you can do it with only one dazed zombie. Star Soul Mode is this game's double trigger, and you build this up as you collect stars from killing zombies, and you typically get more stars when you build up a high combo, so this gives you more of a reason to rack up a high score. In this mode, Juliet glows with glitter, turns invincible, is faster, and does more damage and can even insta-kill zombies without stunning them. Now that I think about it, Juliet's Star Soul Mode might have been inspired by an Italian plumber. I absolutely love the combat system here, but it did take me a while to firmly grasp it. One thing I wish the game had was better tracking. Juliet sorta auto locks on zombies as you attack, but it can feel off at times. There is a lock on button that helps, but shifting between targets needs more work, and when fighting tougher zombies, she tends to lock on to whichever one she feels like instead of the one I need her to be on. I think some kind of delay when you dodge will go a long way, as her dodging speed is so fast, it just feels wrong to me. It definitely works as intended, but it almost feels like something separate from the game. It feels like a separate action, something that was brought in from another game and just put in this one. It just kind of feels out of place. Now, your gun can be OP. And although you can run out of ammo, which I guess is supposed to balance it out, it's highly unlikely you will, especially when you're fighting normal zombies. You can easily line up headshots that instantly kill them, and the only thing that balances out is the potential of getting jumped off screen, but that rarely ever happened for me. Juliet's attacks could be a bit more punchier. Due to all the lollipops Juliet eats, it makes sense why she moves so damn fast. She's probably hyper on sugar. But if they just would have added a little bit more oomph to her attacks, I think we would have got a better system than what we already have. It's good, but that extra force in her attacks would have went a long way for this game. Overall, my issues were minor. Lollipop Chainsaw sets itself apart by leaning into speed and a short but fabulous list of moves fitting for a zombie killing prom queen. She may have stumbled a bit, but in the end, she stuck the landing by being unique while not alienating fans accustomed to how hack and slash games typically play. That's not all either. Lollipop Chainsaw ditches the random puzzles that sneak their way into almost every hack and slash game that I've ever played and opts for special gameplay moments using most of the skills you already know. Zombie Basketball has you cut heads off to score baskets. There's even a zombie who will block your shots, and they account for your position as well, meaning you can score 2-pointers and 3-pointers. There's a fun crop cutting mini game where you mow down zombies, a speed track that uses the chainsaw dash as if it's a vehicle, and on the way you have to collect fuel while running over zombies in the process. There are even segments to put Juliet's acrobatics to the test, and even some skills I don't think cheerleaders actually do.
I could do this much better in my clear lucite heels.
Juliet is a zombie hunter, so it only makes sense that's who she'll be fighting. The zombies oftentimes are slow, but can have unique abilities depending on the type. Some actually do have some speed to them, others have elemental powers, and some are built like tanks. Then you have the Uber zombies. And no, I don't mean zombies that drive vehicles. Uber zombies are more aggressive than your standard undead. They come with a health bar and a name, but can be killed in one hit by stunning them. Using Juliet's huge butt is a great weapon for these elite zombies. Bosses are unique gimmick fights that blend in shooting, puzzles, and your standard chainsaw fighting. Bosses have multiple phases that change after you saw them in half a few times. Each boss fight was enjoyable and fun to play, and the cool thing is that although all your moves should work on them, there's actually certain moves that do more damage than others, but it's not plainly spelled out to you. The nice thing about this is discovery. Figuring out which moves seem to do more damage than others was fun to me, and like I said, you don't have to rely on these anyway. It's just something that if you figure it out, it will only help you complete the boss fight quicker, so it's a reward for, experimentation. You also have collectibles. Even though the stages are linear, you can easily miss collectible lollipops just off the beaten path. There are also lollipops just for health, and you can use these whenever you want. Zombie medals are coins you get from fights, among other things. Gold coins are common, while platinum coins only show up during high combo streams and Sparkle Hunt. You will need these coins to buy upgrades, outfits, moves, music, and concept art. The better you do, the more money you earn. There are also students you can save in each stage. This reminded me so much of a classic arcade game like Metal Slug, and connecting those dots helped me to understand that Lollipop Chainsaw was heavily influenced by the arcade scene. Saving your buddies will reward you with money, and saving all of them will get you the true ending, so try not to miss any. Then there's Juliet's boyfriend Nick. Nick can be used to help Juliet reach places she can't get to by possessing a beheaded undead. You must cheer him on for motivation, and that's not all either. Collecting tickets allows you to spin a roulette that gives Nick special moves like stunning zombies, dropping items, or turning his head into a rocket launcher. Nick being a severed head attached to Juliet's big butt is probably what inspired God of War to do the same, just in a less cool way. Nick will also say helpful advice if you're stuck on bosses, and thankfully he won't say things non-stop like some Nordic scholars. Lollipop Chainsaw has what I call a stupidly good story. The characters are likable stereotypes like Juliet being a pretty and ditzy cheerleader. Sensei Murakawa is your classic perverted master found in anime and other types of media that trained Juliet in the art of zombie killing and pole dancing and lap dancing. Okay.
I'm counting on you both! Kill the motherfuckers!
Her oldest sister Cordelia is your classic tomboy who dresses just like her father. She's probably the most normal one out of the whole family, and Rosalind, being the youngest, is trying to find her footing in her zombie slaying career. She can't drive worth a damn either, but she's always finding herself behind the wheel of a vehicle. If you're familiar with humorous anime that has sex jokes and crude humor implemented into it, you will know exactly where the writers were going with this one. It's a dumb but fun story that actually has some jarring jokes and even some deep moments as well. It dances on the thin line between entertaining and just outright idiotic, and not too many people can pull that off. But if you want a play-by-play of the important stuff, here's some spoilers. The plot of Lollipop Chainsaw is as ridiculous as the title suggests. Juliet has just turned 18 and is meeting her boyfriend Nick when her school gets overrun by zombies. After Nick gets bitten, Juliet cuts off his head to keep him alive.
I love you too, baby!
She runs into her perverted sensei, who explains that a portal to Rotten World has been opened. and they must work together in order to stop whoever's behind this. Turns out it's one of Juliet's classmates, Swan. Yes, his name is Swan and not Sean, which is, I would prefer Sean because Swan is stupid, but maybe it's some inside joke I'll understand. He's caused all this destruction due to his emo rage. He summons 5 evil spirits that take on the appearance of a band, each of which are influenced by different styles and eras of rock and roll. This rock and roll influence in combination with the arcade style kind of reminds me of Mega Man, just in reverse. Instead of the heroes being named after rock elements, it's the villains. After stopping Zed, the first of the 5, Sensei dies and Juliet and Nick must save the world, but they're not alone. Juliet comes from a family of zombie hunters, and you will work alongside them through the story. Now, all of this is pretty mundane for Juliet, just another day in the life of a zombie slayer. Zombies, magic, and saving the world is nothing new for her. But for Nick, that's something different. Nick is just a regular guy, and a nice touch to the story is his demeanor throughout the whole experience. Nick is clearly having a hard time processing that the woman he loves is a zombie hunter, and on top of that, he's also a disembodied head. This is hinted at in the beginning cutscene of the game because Juliet was actually afraid to even inform him of what she really does. After killing every member of the band, Swan reveals why he did all of this. His hatred for the world and his secret love for Juliet and seeing her being with Nick caused him to lose his mind. He also explains that everything that's been going on has been a trick, as killing all 5 of the zombies that he summoned is actually what he wanted all along. By killing himself, he begins to activate the ritual that summons a greater zombie to destroy the world, and Nick loses his sense of hope at this point. There has been a build-up throughout the entire game of Nick's frustration as the plot continues until he reaches a point of just wanting to die. Juliet tries to instill some type of hope and confidence into Nick, but at this point he's just so depressed he just would rather die. She refuses to leave Nick behind and takes him along despite his wishes of wanting to end it all. This is where the story gets surprisingly deep. It was really weird. They have a deep conversation, well, deep for this game, let's be realistic here, about consent as Nick's choice was taken right from him by a selfish Juliet. She tries to reason with him, and although you can tell he's upset and fighting her along the way, during certain situations you can still tell that Nick loves her and he's just frustrated with his current circumstance. After Juliet's dad sacrifices himself, Nick returns back to his old self and urges Juliet to keep going. Inside Killabilly is Swan's beheaded body, and the ghost of Sensei explains that Nick must sacrifice himself to save the world. Juliet refuses, but Nick tells her it's okay. For the first time since losing his body, he finally feels powerful again, like he actually can help. He finally feels like a real zombie slayer like Juliet, and can be a hero in his own way. Nick dies, taking Killabilly with him, and saves the world. Juliet is heartbroken, but not for long. Due to Nick's sacrifice, he was granted a second chance at life.
I will be watching you from above, so please, in my memory, have Juliet do plenty of cartwheels while wearing those little white panties with the teddy bear.
But not exactly as he would have imagined it. Her dad even survived the explosion as well. The game ends with everyone finally enjoying Juliet's birthday. I really enjoyed the crazy ride that is Lollipop Chainsaw. It's entertaining for sure, but it's an acquired taste, to be honest. The game's story has its fair share of jokes and descriptions that may be too much for people today. There is a remark made by Nick that he was touched by a priest. The backgrounds of the bosses really explain how evil they were if you can read what's on the screen. And as I said before, not everything Sensei was doing was on the up and up. If you like the humor in movies like Scary Movie or something like a South Park, I think Lollipop Chainsaw's comedy would be fine for you. Now, I know Lollipop Chainsaw is a short game, but the game is not lacking in content. 7 levels with 4 difficulties to test your skills. There is a big difference between each difficulty, as you take more damage and have less healing items depending upon the difficulty you're playing on. And you can even find more special zombies that only spawn on certain difficulties. This is good because by the time you beat the game on normal and have Juliet maxed out, you'll be so OP that playing on normal will be a breeze. So moving up to the next difficulty is going to bring the challenge back for you. I will warn you that the game by default turns on a bunch of settings that I suggest you turn off if you want a fun challenge. It auto completes quick time events, which I don't like, and it also puts a very hard lock on for shooting, which makes it practically impossible for you to get headshots off. You have a leaderboard, and beating Dad's time is not only challenging, but is needed for the Platinum Trophy. You can also unlock new chainsaws that have special abilities, like more money and making zombies more aggressive. You can always go back through levels to get a higher score, and the game even has a built-in time attack mode. Time attack is the ultimate challenge. It's a non-stop playthrough of the whole game. This is perfect for a game this short, and it's something more hack and slash games should add. Well, granted, if they're short enough, because some of these games are kind of long. Now, you might be wondering why this version of the game is called Repop, and it's not as cool as you might think. Repop is basically the censored Japanese version. This is a mode that you could turn on at will, but I suggest you keep it off. Unless you just hate blood and prefer to see more rainbows, it's really just not it. The game is rated M, and I will hope only mature audiences are playing. I play M-rated games all my life, even when I was a kid, so none of this is new to me or even something that bothers me. But if you're a parent that may allow your kid to play M-rated games, sure, this mode will turn off the blood and gore, but it's not going to stop the crude humor or the sexual content. Nightmare mode is a more difficult challenge and is only unlocked by saving all the survivors. The world is zapped of color, which I'm not a fan of, but now all zombies have names and are more powerful. Plus, you can unlock even more upgrades for Juliet, making her even more deadly. And the nice thing is, all the upgrades found in Nightmare mode can transfer to the normal gameplay modes found in the original. There's also a photo mode, so you can take as many nice, respectable pictures of Juliet as you want. You have different graphic options as well. Now, I wish the game was more clear about this, and I went to their official website and it's still not all that clear, so I'm just guessing here. Fidelity mode must mean a higher resolution, but whether or not it's 60 FPS or not, I don't know. The game feels smooth in fidelity mode, so I'm imagining this is 60 FPS. Maybe it dips a little bit more here, but there is a performance mode that is 1440p, and it's supposed to be a more stable 60 FPS. I'm gonna be honest with you. Play the game in fidelity mode is the default mode because surprisingly, a lot of the times in games like this, I don't see a big graphical difference between the modes. And of course, I'm going to prefer better frame rate than better graphics. But like I said, I don't even notice a big difference when it comes to the visuals. This game is probably the only game I could think of on the PS5 where, yes, fidelity mode is a lot clearer than it is on performance. And like I said, fidelity mode feels like it's 60 FPS. So just play on that mode. Lollipop Chainsaw has gotten a bad rep over the years for its sexual content. Honestly, it's really not much unless you decide to wear certain outfits, but just like the buttons you press, you choose the outfits you wear. The sexual humor reminds me of an old school anime. It's meant to be silly versus a game like Stellar Blade, which I love, but let's be real, Eve is just kind of hot because, I mean, sex sells, bro. Like, it just has no purpose to the story. If we're being honest, I'm not saying I love that game is awesome, but if we're just being honest, it just kind of, we know why it's there. It doesn't bother me at all, but it's one of the main reasons why some people refuse to play the game, and some major review sites refuse to review Repop because they didn't like the sexual content in the game, which is weird because these people are fans of other games with sexual content. And I'm talking about games that have full-blown sex scenes. It's very weird when people pick and choose what bothers them or not when it comes to stuff like this. I'm just warning you guys that if it's not for you, it's not for you, but I promise you, this game is not nearly as sexual as it may seem, and it's fun on top of all of that. Because of how people are today, they were afraid that the game would be censored. Now, as far as I can tell, the game is mostly as it was in the original. Now, I did see some people say that Juliet's breasts no longer just randomly move unrealistically when she just stands still, but they still move. And if that is your deal breaker, then okay. Now, this part kind of sucks, but it's understandable. Some outfits that were licensed are removed in this version, and so was some of the music. But they did keep the Lollipop song for the store. I never played the original, well, at least I didn't play much of it, so I can't say how important losing this stuff is, but there is some good news for PC players. You can easily emulate the original game on PC. I actually played the emulated version for maybe about 5 minutes and immediately bought the game on PS5. All I needed was 5 minutes to know what the game was about, and I loved those 5 minutes so much so that I went out and supported the devs. Because although yes, we can emulate these games for technically free, it is important to support the devs if you want these games to keep going, especially seeing as Lollipop Chainsaw is now with an independent developer. I really want a sequel to Lollipop Chainsaw, and even though I bought the game digitally, I will import the game as well to add to my physical collection. I follow Yoshimi Yoshida, one of the creators of Lollipop Chainsaw, on Twitter, to see how much love and care him and his team put into this game while also wanting the game to remain uncensored shows me how much he cares about what the fans want and how much he's willing to go far for his creativity. He expressed that as a creator, their vision must be preserved, and I fully understand that being a creative myself. It's nice that Dragami Games has Lollipop Chainsaw back in their hands from WB. Grasshopper Games was originally involved, and I can tell you that the two teams must work together again. Lollipop and Killer is Dead are great games, and now that Suda51 is working on Romeo is a Dead Man, the return of the eccentric Japanese hack and slash games are coming back in full stop, and right now you can go buy Lollipop Chainsaw on the Switch, the PlayStation 5, the PS4, the Xbox, and the PC, and get into the madness right now. Lollipop Chainsaw is a sexy slasher full of goofy characters, a fun combat system, and is built for easy replayability. If you're a sucker for a fun hack and slash, this one's worth a lick. It tastes so sweet to be a zombie slayer.
Head.
There's some stuff I didn't tell you before, okay? I didn't want you to think I was weird. I'm kinda, sort of,
What? Juliet?
don't know how to say it exactly.
Zombies! Zombies! Coming to kill us now!